didn't need to
This
use
is
them.
a beer can chicken.
Yeah.
It's roasted standing up on right in its private
It's on a Guinness
parts.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, a Guinness can of stout, right?
A Guinness can, yeah, stout or any kind of
But did
dark
you empty
beer.
the can before you roasted it?
You pour out about half of it because
yeah.
otherwise it's really dangerous. And
Yeah.
you really do. I mean, in the recipe we say be careful when you're moving it because it's standing up on a beer can.
Right.
And there's beer in there that's hot, so you need to be pretty careful with that.
But you will be a hero.
It gets
if you make
very
that one.
infused with a lot of flavor. There's some thyme in there. This one has.
What are we making today? Which one?
Oh, well, this one we're going to make two, but first we're going to start with this, which is the opener to the story, which is basically, I was calling it ramped up basic the whole time. My inspiration was like, I make a roast chicken almost every week, but I usually just salt and pepper it and put it in the oven. This one I wanted to make a little bit more special.
Now this is not roast chicken, but these
are not roast chicken.
These are the potatoes that you roast with the chicken, and you have to boil them first.
So basically, these are cooked basically until they're done. Maybe a little bit of resistance
in salty water.
In salty water.
Okay.
And then I'll show you what we do. We drain them first. Careful, because this is hot and heavy. This is about 2 1/4 pounds or 2.5 pounds. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you do.
Turn the cold water on and save your drains.
Save your drains.
Do you know that?
And as you also always say, the steam gives you a free facial.
A good facial, but do not rinse the potatoes.
Don't rinse them. Once they need to be soft, because I'll show you what I'm going to do. You put them back into the pot.
Yes.
We can go back over to the stove to do this. Yep. And they're kind of soft. They're tender. And what you do is shake them to get them sort of fluffy. It dries them out a little bit, and it loosens.
Olive oil?
Yep, a little bit of olive oil. And if, as you can see, the more you shake them, they get a little bit more fluffy.
Okay.
And when we put that in the pan,
salt?
Yes, of course.
Potatoes
Salted
need
water, but you want it salty a little bit, not too much. And just mix that. We can set that aside for a second. But all that fluffiness on the outside is going to turn into crispiness.
When I bake a potato, I've been baking a lot of potatoes at the house, and when you bake the potato, you take the potato when it's out of the oven. It feels like it's done, but then you must smash it on the counter in the skin. Do you know that?
And then does it fluff inside and get all, it steams a little
fluffy.
bit?
And so it's all broken up. All those fibers are broken up, and instead of digging into a hard but cooked potato, you're digging
That
into...
sounds really...
It's the best.
That sounds really,
I'm doing that on
nice.
this show.
I love that. You should. It's such a simple technique.
It's a good thing.
Which is what this is, too, because it fluffs it on the outside.
Now, what kind of chickens?
These are, you know, all natural chickens. We like to get the air chilled. These are from Whole Foods.
Thank you, Whole Foods.
Thank you, Whole Foods. This is a 4.5-pound chicken. I'm thinking my inspiration for this was sort of that Sunday dinner, chicken on the table, maybe a stuffed chicken.
That's good for 4 people.
Oh, at least, with some leftovers, I think. So 4.5 pounds, it's a nice size.
Not in our house.
Well.
Not when I was growing up. Mother would make 3 chickens for 8 people because I had
3 chickens for 8 people.
Because I had these 3 brothers and a father who ate a lot.
Well, you know, men do eat a lot. You know, in our house, my kids are still kind of small, so this is definitely enough for leftovers. But of course, you know, not everybody has that luxury.
And I had like 16 boys staying at my house, Yaleys, once, and they ate 16 whole chickens.
It's amazing.
16 chickens we roasted.
Well, I hope they weren't 4-pound chickens. But anyway, so you take your chicken out of the refrigerator and let it sit at room temperature for a little while.
So that's been sitting.
Just to warm up a little. Dry it really, really, really well. Rub it with a little bit of butter. And I have to say that if your chicken is not really, really dry, the butter won't
roast
stick.
It right on this cookie
I'm actually going to transfer it to this because we're going to put the potatoes on with it also. So butter. You don't have to do this
So you could be working
first.
on a parchment covered
Sure. You don't
counter.
need to do it. This is just what it's on, so that's
Some
what we're
salt?
doing it on. Yeah. Oh, but first, there's a little trick.
The
now,
secret.
I was doing a lot of research because I wanted to find what was the crispest chicken that there could be, and I found that a lot of these recipes would leave them in the refrigerator uncovered overnight, but that was too much for me to dry the skin. So I didn't want to do that, but they also would use a little bit of cornstarch.
So sprinkled on?
So mix your salt and your cornstarch together. So 1.5 teaspoons of salt.
To half a teaspoon of cornstarch.
And then you would sprinkle it on there.
Okay. So cornstarch, which acts sort of like a drying agent, right?
It's a drying agent, and it also just makes a little bit of a coating. I mean, if you think about fried chicken and all of those, they have that. And so that's what we're doing here. We can truss the legs. We can truss the chicken or tie the legs together, which is...
So what are you going to do?
I'm going to just tie the legs.
Okay.
Because it's simpler.
Okay.
But you can truss it. I know you like trussing chickens. Oops. So the potatoes are going to go onto the sheet around the chicken and roast all together.
So, are broken.
Yeah, broken up.
Oh, we should get the chicken on there.
Here. Tuck the wingtips
And
under,
you notice
and
you
then
put it on a bed of rosemary.
so there's a bed of rosemary, and there's rosemary inside, which is going to really perfume the entire thing. Tuck the wingtips under, and then surround your entire chicken with your potatoes that have been pre-cooked. This is going to go into a 450 degree oven for 30 minutes, and then you take it out, you turn your potatoes over, and then you roast them until the potatoes are done, and the chicken is 165 and the thigh, and that's about another 30 minutes, and it's perfect and golden. We
So
have
nothing
one.
else on the potatoes.
No, nothing else on the potatoes. It gets the chicken fat as it's cooking, more will be released, and so that's how they get so
And
crisp
this
and
is what
golden
they
and
look
beautiful.
like. Yeah, and the potatoes. Look at these. Look how pretty the potatoes are. And they are really dry, crispy on the outside. I love.
Fluffy on the inside. They're
and
perfect.
tasty. That's
The chicken's not too bad either.
Okay, so should I slice something?
So you can see that you actually got a little bit of a crust from the cornstarch
yeah.
and the salt. I like a little bit of, salt
And
in
the
there.
meat is totally juicy. Now, what temperature again? 160?
It's 455. 450, you cook it at, and then in the deepest part of the thigh, 165. Then let it rest for 10 minutes, and it should be like this.
Look how juicy that is.
So juicy.
Oh, so beautiful. So make lots of potatoes.